strawberry spinach, and it's a great substitute for spinach in the hot weather, because if you've ever tried to grow spinach in the hot weather before, then you would be familiar with how it bolts so quickly. And it definitely does taste like spinach. Another cool thing about this plant, and this is my first time growing it, so I haven't experienced it yet, but it'll eventually produce these red berries that supposedly taste like watermelon, so I'm pretty excited to try that out. And it definitely isn't minding growing in this old hollow stump we had, so I'd say so far so good. Just take a moment to appreciate this celosia leaf too. I mean, just look at that. That is so cool. I love when leaves do that. And right behind it just have some cilantro also growing in a old hollow stump. Look at this bee, just living life, loving these flowers. So if you've grown any sort of brassica greens before, you know, like purple tatsoi, Chinese cabbage, green mizuna, kale, arugula, a lot of the different types of greens we grow. Chances are you've probably have grown brassica flowers before, because they do not like the heat and will typically bolt if we get a few days that are continuously over 80 or 90. And these flowers are totally edible. Just make sure you don't eat a bee, because I love them. But very mild. The stems too, if you get them young enough, the stems will be pretty juicy still, and you can eat those raw or throw them in the saute. At this point, these have gotten pretty woody, so I probably won't eat the stems anymore. But if nothing else, it makes for great bee forage. Our honeybees love them, but wild native bees also love them. So I'll probably let these flower for a bit longer, let the bees drink their nectar from them, and yeah, take them out in a little bit. This is the herbal flower garden I'm starting this year. So we got some lavender in the back there. I'm not entirely sure what type that is. I thought I got English, but it doesn't look like English lavender. I got chamomile here, and calendula there, and calamint in the back. Some borage that had reseeded itself from last year, so I'm just going to let it do its thing. But look at these calendula flowers. They are just magnificent. Another thing I've been doing this year is growing simply just to grow something lovely, and these cosmos fit that bill. They are just gorgeous. I mean, look at this guy. Just look at him. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is my first time growing echinacea, and I started these from seed last spring. So they're in their second year now, and I could not be happier with how they are looking. They are magnificent. So eventually these will clump and spread. I do hope to harvest some of the roots for medicinal purposes down the road, so probably won't do that for at least another year or so, let them really get established, and once they start spreading, and I would have to thin them out anyway, then it'll be the perfect time to gather some roots and try them out. If you guys would like a video on how not to grow your peas, this could be the video for you. I made the decision not to trellis, which was a bad decision, and they have completely just toppled over and are all intertwined, but hey, there is a pea in there. Look at that. Look at that, fella. Oh yeah. But next year I'll definitely be trellising these. One thing I am learning as a beginning YouTuber, I guess, first video, so bear with me, is that I most definitely need a tripod. And it is bright. Don't know how that's gonna look. Oh, we got rabbits. We have got rabbits. You're lucky you're cute, Mr. Rabbit. Hiding under my potato bush. You're lucky you're cute. So, these are the glorious potatoes. Another new thing we're doing this year, we have never grown potatoes before. Oh, look at that nice lovely ladybug. They are flowering, which typically is a sign of you have new potatoes in the ground that could be dug. I am a bit concerned about the amount of vegetation these have actually put on. It's actually quite a lot of green growth, so I'm actually worried that the roots might not have gotten all the nutrients they needed and they might be lacking in size, but we really won't know until we go digging. So we'll give those a little bit longer and then we might pull up a bush and see what we get. And in the corner there, some interplantings of onions and kale. A very loose example of a polyculture system intermingling onions with kale and leeks. So this was kind of a test. Like I said, this is a very prone rabbit area. So we figured why not try and plant some kale and onions together and see if the onions somewhat deter the pests from coming into the garden. And it worked for a while. You can probably see at the ends here that they are starting to get in, so obviously not a perfect system, but they haven't completely chowed them, so hopefully it's working somewhat. These are elderberries, and I am very excited for these. I've heard you can make elderflower tea. We definitely won't be collecting any of that this year, but in years to come. And then I know you aren't supposed to eat the berries raw. The inner core of the berry, I guess, is the part that can be toxic. So you can bake it, you can turn it into jam. I'm probably gonna preserve it and then try to make some medicinal use out of the berries, which would be pretty awesome. Pretty excited about those. I've never actually had anything fresh elderberry. I've had elderberry in like a tonic before and that was pretty good, but I'm excited to try it myself. Another thing I am very, very excited for is this guy right here. This is a pawpaw tree. Oh, we spotted a wild horse. What's he up to? Probably spraying some trees. And a lot of people haven't heard of pawpaws, even though they are native to North America. These varieties have been cultivated to withstand our colder northeast weather, but I'm very excited for these. I've only had one pawpaw before in my life, gifted to us, and it's very much like they say, somewhere in between like a mango meets a banana meets a vanilla custard. It's very delicious. These probably won't fruit for at least a couple more years while they get very well established, but we're very excited for these. What else can I show you guys on my first ever garden tour? Another new thing we're growing this year is a melon called Tigger melon. It's just starting to flower. We have some other mixed melons in this bed as well. The Tigger melon really caught my eye. It's this vibrant green and orange striped melon. Pretty sure it's technically a cantaloupe. It's orange inside. And I am very excited to see these. We also have snow leopards and a cantaloupe called Sugar Cube in the mix here. We have had those melons before. They're both very sweet and delicious, so once those start to bear fruit, I will definitely be showing you guys those tasty melons. Some other new things we've put in this year And we've gotten a bunch of different blueberries, some persimmon trees actually. They're all kind of spaced out, and honestly they're new this year, so they're not looking anything too thrilling, but I can definitely do some videos on those if you guys would like. Very excited about the persimmon tree. I've never actually had a fresh persimmon, but I hear they are delicious. So we got those this year. Some gooseberries we got going, and some dogwoods. There's this very ornamental dogwood, but also the fruit it produces is edible. The name of it is escaping me right now, but it's good. Now these aren't new. We've been growing fig trees for a few years now, but I just need to show you guys because these are just, they're beautiful. I love these leaves. It just makes you feel like you've escaped to somewhere tropical even though you're just in your backyard. And we've been getting a handful of fruit from all of these different trees now. These are probably at least 3 to 5 years old. I don't know. I can let you guys know. I'll ask Rory when he put these in, but it's such a treat. I love them. Now, I wish I could show you guys the next crop that we are trying out new this year, but our ongoing rabbit problem is making that an issue because they have eaten almost every leaf off of our scarlet runner beans, and they will just continue to eat it. This is probably our own fault. We should definitely get some fencing going, but man, they are tricky little guys. They will try anything to get into the fences. This tree right here, this is what made me fall in love with the property when we came to look at it almost 2 years ago now. This, my friends, is a mulberry tree. And just look at this fruit. It is going to be absolutely loaded this year. It is so beautiful. I love mulberries. We had a tree at the farm we work at, and it was the first time I had a mulberry, and I just fell in love with them. They're not quite a black raspberry, not quite a blackberry. They really do have a flavor all their own. I guess they are actually related to figs, and they do have these like undertones of like fig notes, if you will. So these will start to ripen probably this week, and the wildlife will go crazy for them. We actually have to try to beat them out here, but everyone will get their full share. We'll get a lot of this fruit at the bottom, and there's all these branches up top that the birds and whatnot can also feed on. But yes, I am very excited for all these mulberries. I even love just standing under the shade of this tree because it is just marvelous. We were actually pretty upset last year because if you can see right there, you can kind of see the scar left from a huge limb of this tree falling during one of our bad windstorms, and that sucked. It was definitely a good portion of this tree, but the only good thing that comes out of things like that is that some of these berries are going to be absolutely massive this year, and I think it's because all the energy is no longer going to that branch. It's going to all these berries and all these branches, so you gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. Hello, bees. Let's go say hello to the bees. There they are, just living their little bee lives up. They have plenty to forage now. They are living it up. The cool thing about this hive that we got is you can take the sides off here and actually get a look-see inside without having to open her all the way up. Pretty cool. So we have our honey super on. This is something else new we're growing this year, so I think it fits into the title. This is our first year growing bees. And we have our honey super on, so we'll probably take that off in a few days or so and see what we got going on up there. We are still very much novices at this, so you can ask us for advice, but I can't promise it will be good advice. We're just kind of going based on what we've read and watched on videos. I will say if there's anything I've learned about having bees thus far is you do have to feed them more than you think, especially when they're starting out. You do need to supplement their feed with sugar water. And you just need to provide forage for them. You know, I hear a lot of stories of people's bees just up and leaving, and it could very well be because they just don't have the right amount of flowers or different sources of flowers. Like some flowers just provide nectar, some flowers provide the pollen, so they do need a forage for different flowers. And yeah, just making sure you have all that the bees need to actually want to stick around. Can't blame them. I just love all the sounds of the birds. Is anyone else just completely enchanted by the sound of birds? I could just listen to them all day. And many days I have. Okay, again, the next thing I'm going to show you is not technically a crop, but we are technically growing them, so I think that I can show you guys. And they are our little Americana chickens. Yes, ladies. Yes, hello. Excuse me. Pardon me. Coming through. Not to worry. Part the seas. Oh, didn't mean to interrupt your bath, my darling. You look awfully cozy in there. So, these are our Americana birds. And we got them as tiny little chicks. And it's the first time we're growing chickens from chicks. Usually we buy them as pullets. We got these guys all as pullets. What pullet means essentially is like a teenager. They've been sexed already, so you can be guaranteed that they are a hen and not a rooster. So if your goal is to get hens, pullets can be the easier way to achieve hens. Chicks are usually less expensive for that reason too, because you're taking the gamble but that you might get roosters. But yeah, we got these guys and they're small enough to fit in our palms, and it looks like they're hens, so I think we lucked out. But I'm very excited to try out the Americana breed. They have the blue eggs, which is really cool. And they're just a really unique heritage breed, so we're excited. And they're really cute. We currently have them separated off from the older girls, just so that when they were really little they didn't pick on them too much and hurt them or kill them. So now that the Americanas are finally picking up size, we've been starting to integrate them, and we'll probably, maybe in a week or two, fully integrate them with the other girls. I think by that time that they can kind of defend themselves against these monsters. You guys. So I think that's all I have for you guys today. Bear with me as I figure out exactly what I want to film and share with you guys, but if you guys have any questions or ideas, what you want to see, feel free to let me know and I will show you. Yeah, just bear with me as I get this whole YouTube thing started. I'm getting used to talking to a camera lens. Yeah, till next time guys, keep growing.